Hi, this is Ron Turner of FrontRunner 2020. Welcome to this episode of FrontRunner 2020.
Jack puts his data together and makes sure that he saved the information before moving forward. While he's doing so, he takes a look at District 14, which is on the screen in front of you. Jack knows a few things about this district. He knows that Angela Hunt won this district 4 times, beginning in 2005, and that she lives on the eastern side of the district in the M Street neighborhood. From his own experience, Jack feels that District 14 can be divided into 3 different sections. East Dallas, which is roughly east of Central Expressway, or Interstate 75. Uptown, which is between the Dallas North Toll Road and Interstate 75. And then the Bluffview, Love Field area, which is to the west of the North Dallas Tollway. Jack also knows that he's running in a non-partisan race, so he'll need to do some more detailed analysis so he's aware of the unique dynamics in this race. Now, this might be different in other states. Some states have more all races as partisan. That would be the case in Pennsylvania. Other states have a fewer nonpartisan races, such as Michigan and Ohio. States like Texas have a large number of races as nonpartisan. So you have to do a little more work to identify some of the possible voting trends in these elections. Jack knows that he's going to want to look at the precincts with a few thoughts in mind. He's going to want to prioritize precincts by their percentage support in favor of his candidacy, and then the turnout percentage. The higher of each, the better. So Jack would be thrilled with a precinct that had, say, 70% turnout and 70% support. The best way to figure out what the expected turnout or vote support would be to average the turnout and percentage support over the past 4 or 5 elections. So now Jack's going to take a look at which areas of District 14 can pull him to victory. So Jack decided to look at one specific part of East Dallas, known as Junius Heights and Hollywood Heights. For those who are Dallas residents, this part of Dallas is pretty unique and well known. And Jack knows that there are 4 precincts that cover these 2 neighborhoods. Precinct number 1236, precinct 2225, precinct 3209, and precinct 3214. Jack pulls up the election data from 2005 and spends a moment looking at the information that you see in front of you. And you can see the precinct number, registered voters, voter turnout, and then the column for the 4 candidates for that year. In 2005, Angela Hunt was in her first election, and turnout was at 16% of registered voters. And for her first election, Hunt won 53% of the total voters in these 4 precincts. This percentage was significantly ahead of her 40% overall win percentage in the 14th district. Now, in Texas, we have a general election where you would have all the candidates run against each other. So in this case, there were 4 candidates. And then if one candidate did not get over 50% of the vote, the top 2 candidates proceed to the next round. And in the next round, Hunt won rather handily. So now that Jack knows this information, he pulls up the data from 2007. In 2007, Hunt had only one challenger, and she walloped this person pretty handily, winning 88% of the total vote. Now, turnout was slightly lower in 2007 than 2005, but still she won with much larger win percentages than in 2005. In 2009, Hunt was unchallenged, and only 571 voters cast ballots, which meant overall turnout dropped to 13%. Now, this sort of race is really helpful for candidates because it shows you if there's no one even running against the incumbent, or if just one candidate is running, these are the people who will vote rain, shine, no matter what. So Jack realizes that there are 571 people in these 4 precincts that he's going to want to become very good friends with, or at least identify rather quickly. In 2011, Hunt faced a contested election. She had 3 challenges, and turnout increased to 17%. Hunt still did rather well in these neighborhoods, winning just under 80% of the vote, and a number that was ahead of her overall 64% win percentage. So Jack had this information, and before looking further at the voting data, he decided to pull up the census data from the 2010 census. Now, when doing so, he realized that the total population is 6,936 people. But of the people who are concerned to him, he's looking at people who are able to vote, which would be people who are 18 and over. When he pulls up that information, he finds out that there are 5,665 people who are eligible to vote. And he notices that the neighborhood is rather predominantly white, with 72%. But he notices that over the next decade, as the population gets older, the percentage of Hispanics in these 2 neighborhoods will increase, as the total population of Hispanics is 22.45% when compared to the voting age population of just under 16%. So now that Jack had this census data, he decided to look at the turnout trend over the past 4 elections. He notices that the number of registered voters has fluctuated over time, rising from 4,030 in 2005, increasing in 2007 and 2009 before falling back to 4,193 in 2011. And that's to be expected because people move, they pass on, and so that number is not always going to remain static. Now what changes, though, is in the on the graph on the right side, the number of voters. As we mentioned earlier, in 2005, 645 people voted. In 2007, 562 people voted. In 2009, 571 people voted. And in 2011, 710 people voted. So looking at these numbers, Jack is able to average out the level of turnout and people who are planning on voting. So Jack decided to develop his expected 2013 precinct model. Now most campaigns like to work with a win percentage of 52%. This is a way that you can have a little margin of error with your potential win margin. And then also it helps you to get a little more less stress on election night when you're counting the results. So since Jack needs to get 52% of the total vote, you take the current number of registered voters, which as we discussed earlier was 4,193, and figured that you can expect 622 voters if turnout is at the average amount of 15.4%. So with these 622 voters, if you want to get 52% of the total vote in these 2 neighborhoods within these 4 precincts, he's going to need 325 voters overall. And as you can see on the slide, that will give a different 8 voters in the first precinct, 84 in the second, 167 in the third, and then 66 in the fourth. So now we got to wonder, how did Jack take his target of 52% of the total vote into reality? He looks at his universe of voters and targets voters who are likely to vote, and especially likely to vote for him. Jack can create his own voter list, or he can use a private vendor like Aristotle to build his own list of voters. He's also going to see what sort of voters he needs to target. For example, if he's a Republican running in a non-partisan race, he would probably want to identify voters who cast ballots in a Republican primary as likely target. And for that, for example, you would want to get the number of Republicans who've cast ballots in 2008, 2010, and then the upcoming 2012 Republican primaries. So will Jack decide to run? And that's the big question that we have. And we'll have to wait and see. But however, since he decided to do the precinct analysis, he's in great shape if he decides to say yes. let's hope he does and makes it a good race. So Ron, thank you so much for letting me chat today. And as always, if viewers have any questions, need information, or want to learn more about PAB Consulting, just feel free to contact me at the information provided on this page, and I'd be more than happy to get back in touch with you. Thanks again.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that, and thank you for your willingness to take on questions at this point.